네, 다음으로는 저희 코리아 레거시 커뮤니티를 만들고 운영하고 있는 마이크를 무대로 초대하겠습니다. 마이크는 현재 구글에서 아시아 파트너십 업무를 담당하고 있습니다. Please welcome our founder and a board member, Mike Kim, who currently leading APEC partnership for Google. Please welcome him with applause.
Thank you. You guys are very, very good tonight. Well, we're going to have a damn good time tonight. But before we do, I want to take a moment to reflect on why we are gathered here tonight. We gather here tonight to honor the senior citizens of this country who sacrificed everything so that every single one of us could be something. Yet, sadly, this generation that gave us so much currently lives in severe poverty. As Martin just mentioned, nearly 50%, half of the senior citizens of this country live below the poverty line. And so tonight, as I thought about what I wanted to say, I want to touch upon three things. I want to say thanks, I want to apologize, and I want to leave with a pledge. So can we do that tonight? Yeah. So let's begin by giving thanks. There was a dream that is Korea. Forwards that have a vision that was unrelenting, unwavering, and unyielding in the face of repeated adversity. Our grandparents and those before them endured hardships that many of us standing here today could never, ever fathom. Despite brutal colonization by the Japanese, despite a war that ripped this country in half, and despite global forces that have tried to suppress this nation, that generation, our grandparents, rised up time and time and time again for a stronger, independent Korea. Due to the remarkable resiliency of that generation, our grandparents' generation, not only do we have the great privilege of living in this country, but we have been afforded the gift of a free country in which we can strive for dreams that generation only wished to have achieved. We owe this generation, our grandparents, so much. For if not for them, the dream that is Korea would still remain yet a dream. Today, we stand on soil that has triumphed over unimaginable odds. And we should, and we must, recognize our greatest inheritance. And I believe that that is hope. That generation sacrificed everything, some even with their lives, so that all of us can harbor hope. So it pains me when I hear at times this generation call this country Heljosan. Now I know that we're far from a perfect nation, but there is no such thing. But I can tell you what we have. We have a country in which every single day we can strive to make better, just like our grandparents' generation did for us. This ain't hell. This just ain't hell. In nearly every way, our country is stronger and more prosperous than it has ever been. And if you ever had a doubt that the Korean dream exists, take a look around. Take a look around this ball. It exists. Some call Seoul the miracle on the Han. Screw that. I think calling it a miracle waters down the true achievement of what it is. Let me tell you what I think Seoul and Korea are. They are the product of hard-ass work. Right?
Yes, sir.
So to our grandparents and generations before, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all that you sacrificed. Thank you for this gift of a country that we call Daehan. Secondly, I wanted to take this time to actually apologize. Right now, our grandparents' generation lives in the entire OECD, the highest level of senior citizen poverty in the world. I moved to Korea just 3 years ago, in the dead of winter. And I can still remember when I was at the bottom of Jamsil Station. Sitting in the corner of my eye was a grandmother on a piece of cardboard. And she had been there for weeks and months. She wasn't selling packs of gum, she was selling sticks of gum all day in Korean winter to get a bowl of chicken. As you may have heard, there are things called the bakas ladies. Women who are 60, 70, 80 that need to sell bakas to make a meal. So I asked myself, how can a country so strong and so powerful and so successful do this to the generation that built it? And the only answer that I could think of was that we can't. We can't allow this suffering to happen here. And so I want to take the time to apologize, because I know that we can do better. I want to take the time to apologize to the generation that I feel like we have left in the shadows. So if you will, take a moment of just silence for a quick bit to think about your grandparents and to think about the generation before us. And just think about them. Lastly, before I leave you tonight, I want to finish with a pledge, one that I hope that all of us can rally behind. While tonight we focus on the severe poverty epidemic facing our grandparents, I want to reflect on a much larger theme, and that is the role our generation, we, every single one of you, will play in solving the many challenges that face this country, this being our legacy. I stand in firm belief and with deep conviction that there is no challenge or obstacle our generation cannot conquer if we do it together. I have said this before, and I will say it again tonight. I strongly believe that this generation is the most powerful, influential, and meaningful generation in this country. We have the power to master our future. We have the power to shape our economy. And we have the power to demand the very best from our elected officials. So when you wake up tomorrow and the sun rises again on this country, I hope you arise and awake to a renewed sense of self-purpose and worth. Look out at the horizon of Korea and select a problem. I'm sure there are many things that piss you off. Well, select one and say, I'm going to fix you. Whether it's women's rights, that will be our legacy. Equal pay will be our legacy. Community service, tolerance, and treating gay people with respect will be our legacy. Better schools and creating more jobs will be our legacy. Ending misogyny and the agency cartel will be our legacy. And lastly, looking at this room, we had 70% of the guests here tonight as females. A female-led future will be our legacy. We must be bold and dream bigger and have a vision for Korea that allows all of us to rise and achieve as one. It may take weeks or months or years, but I hope you pledge tonight to live a life worthy of the sacrifices that generation made for us. So when you leave here tonight, I hope you ask yourself one question. What will be your legacy? Thank you guys for coming tonight. I thank you.